Hello, everyone. Welcome to this installment of The Joy of Game Mastering. I'll go ahead and turn off the music here, and I will bring my face up to see all you wonderful people. It's been a great day. This is our first Joy of Game Mastering of the new year, and we are continuing our adventures in world building. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm Alex Thomas. I'm the line developer for Mutants and Masterminds here at Green Ronin Publishing, and I love to game master. I've been a game master since I was 11 years old, and I am here to help demystify this very important calling in the tabletop industry. So thank you for hanging out with me. If you're here, we're working together on all this, so please feel free to jump in with ideas. I'm going to recap what we talked about last time. Hey, Claude, how's it going? Last time we put together a very good starting point for our world building. I've had a lot of Google Docs since then, so let me get back down. Here we go. World building world from Joy of Game Mastering. So we decided that we wanted to do a story of... Oh, Clyde, I'm doing well too. Today was originally intended to be the Valiant Kickstarter release, but we're going to be releasing it next Tuesday. We wanted to make sure we had time to build all the hype what we could, because it's going to be a big deal. I'm very excited for the Valiant Kickstarter, and I'm excited for all of you to get access to the quick start. I believe the people on our Patreon already have access to it, but I'll double check real quick. But yeah, how's everybody's day? Did you do any fun gaming stuff between now and the last time I saw you? So over the holidays, I guess, would be the normal way of saying that. Nice. Yeah, Claude, if you just want to share it wherever you think people enjoy superhero stuff. I know you've got that amazing community over on Threads, so I'm sure you've already shared it there. But yeah, so today we're talking about what we did last time on world building. We decided that we wanted a modern age story with some deconstruction elements, similar to a lot of the big things that are on Amazon Prime right now. The Boys, Invincible, even some non-violent things like Astro Boy does a pretty great job, or Astro City does a great job of doing some deconstruction work. We decided that the origins of our powers are all derived from one of 42 elements. So there are 42 superpowered people in our world, each of them an aspect of a different element that we have codenamed Devas. Those elements are earth, air, water, fire, lightning, emotion, glamour, magnetic, dark, light, sonic, plasma, vibration, radiation, plant, gravity, time, cosmic, solar, lunar, knowledge, life, death, probability, transmutation, void, vapor, blood, body, mind, soul, creation, destruction, war, peace, poison, kinetic, order, chaos, progress, beast, grime. And we have a secret 43rd element. Which is balance, which is going to be a fun twist for the players when they get deeper into the investigation of this strange world. We also decided that the superhero population is a secret to most people. So people have secret identities, or they find ways to not reveal themselves to the general public who think the world is as it is here. And we decided that superpowers are rare. PCs, the player characters, are one of the 42 power level 12 to 14 Devas who can imbue underlings with aspects of their power. And these underlings are the PL 6 to 10 variety. So there are a little bit more than those 42 Devas as superpowered people, but not very many more. We're probably looking at less than 300 powered people in the entire world. We also said that there's no official relationship with the government. Police respond to vigilante activity and superpowered threats as we would expect them to in our world. We decided this is an alternate Earth, so it's not a unique world. It is the Earth as we know it, except at superpowers. And at the beginning of our campaign, the there's an empowering event that takes place that gives everyone their powers at once, and the adventures start taking place 1 to 3 months after the events as Devas learn what they can do and begin coming into conflict with one another. We decided that this event takes place in 6 locations across the world, imbuing 7 people in each area with powers. So, we had a couple of fun comments from people from the previous episode. Tim Kirk says, if you lean into magic mystic origin, the event might occur in locations that are known for folkloric or historical rumors of magic. Also consider places where celestial events might be seen. And Logic Core says areas could be points on the globe where the ley lines converge. So I do like all that stuff. That's a lot of good. But yeah, we're diving in. So the next thing that we are going to be working on is figuring out where those 6 locations are across the world. That's our main goal today. Once we know where those 6 locations are, we'll be able to start doing some world building on a local level related to our campaign. So, where are those locations? And do we want to set our game somewhere in America? Do we want to set it somewhere? Do we want to set it somewhere else in the world? There's all sorts of options. And this is something that you, as the GM, you could definitely take the time to go in and change that related to your players, whatever they're interested in. My initial instinct, if I was running this campaign, would be to set the game in the same town that my players live in, so that you have that very local stakes. I may have missed it, says Claude. Is there a must always be 42 rule? If one is killed, does their element manifest in another person? We didn't discuss that. That is a high concept idea that we should probably figure out. I think my thought would be, so we had a lot of powers that were diametrically opposed. I think those people absorb the other person's power when they defeat them. And that leads to, that does lead to there can be only one situation. But I guess that's the question of, what does balance want? Is balance sort of like the Force in Star Wars, where it wants to bring light and dark into conflict forever and it doesn't really care about who's in charge? Or is it something that do they want something else? Do they want there to be only light? And that is what they consider balance. And the other Devas who are not in that realm are sort of in the anarchy column. Is order balance, or is balance between order and power? Does balance have to redistribute the power? That would be interesting. I sort of like the idea of balance not being human, like balance being an alien or a divine being, or somebody like the Watcher from Marvel, somebody who is observing from outside and designating who gets the powers, because that adds a high concept investigation to the entire campaign. Like, why is this happening? That's an answer to why were we chosen? What's going on? Who's directing this madness? So I think that's an idea for sure. So I'm going to mark that down as a possibility. So who is balance? What does balance want? Is this all some sick experiment to balance? Is it a test? Is it a trial for our dimension or our planet? There's all sorts of different things. And this is an example of what I call macro world building. There are sort of 2 schools of thought about building a world. Hey, Dom, how are you doing today? The first thought is one that I often employ with superhero settings specifically, and that's called macro world building, where you start with the very high concept and you work your way down to the details. If you The opposite of that would be micro world building. So you start with the immediate area that the players are going to be engaging with, and you build up from there. That's typically popular with fantasy games where you don't necessarily need to know everything about the world because the players generally don't have a lot of transportation options and they'll be in one small area for longer periods of time. But with superhero games, there's a lot of high concept questions like where do powers come from? What does the world government think about us? Um, yeah. Rebel Moose says, "Oh, hi, Rebel Moose. Good to see you. I dig the idea of balance not being human. My first thought when you said that was a futuristic AI. Oh, that's interesting. Now we're trying to come up with an acronym for balance. I am a huge fan of superhero acronyms, so let me know if you get anything interesting." Dom says, "I had a fun idea. A character that's revealed as being a person from a previous incarnation of Deva empowerings. Maybe balance is the survivor of the last 42. And that's how you become balance is you and then you have to start the game again. But that makes balance another pawn in the game, and we need to figure out who's in charge of balance, or is this just a cruel? Is this like a law of physics? This is just a cruel reality of our situation. That's your prize at the end. You have to start it over and be the game master for the next game. That would be sort of meta as a GM player character. Someone who's like a kid in the 80s. Yeah, the 80s was like 20 years ago. So we got a couple of fun ideas. I'm gonna mark these down sort of this way. Excuse me. So balance. We have an idea for a futuristic AI. Yeah, the 90s was 5 years ago. That's true. Previous Deva, who survived the last cycle. Canton, Ohio empowering event. Claude, are you from Canton, Ohio? I had one of the worst auditions ever in Canton, Ohio. I was trying out for the Bluecoats for Drum Corps International, and the trumpet auditioner told me I should melt my horn down into bullets and use them on myself. So it was great. Oh, Claude's not from Canton. Okay. Dom says this fits into the idea I threw out before last time, where a later arc could revolve around a new 42 appearing, making the number jump from 42 to 84. Yeah, I do like it being cyclical, because that builds in natural stakes. The problem, especially for a multi-year campaign, you sort of run into the same problem Supernatural had, where they got to season 5, fought the devil, and then everything above that was we had to find something increasingly more ridiculous to deal with. Having a built-in escalation scale is great. I'm trying to think about the balance acronym. Balance. Balancing automaton. No, I think the second A should be automaton. fleshy automaton. I think being able to trade the power down through empowering minions helps to extend some arcs early on. Yes, and it makes it so that every fight doesn't have to be against one guy. And if your element is particularly broad, like fire or glamour or progress, we could sort of divide those elements into subsections as the powers get divvied down. And our idea was that there are only 7 people in any given town who have superpowers. So if you've got 4-player characters, that means you have 3 bad guys, or 2 bad guys and an NPC, or 1 bad guy and 2 NPCs. But yeah, it's an idea of scale. And it could be that wherever we start the game, there is an issue that has to be solved by the heroes that isn't related to this. Like maybe they live somewhere where the government's corrupt and they want to make some changes before they get drawn into the Deva situation, the Deva crisis, or they try to solve ordinary crimes. Also, some people can share the power more and others can be more exclusive, so the factions can vary well. Yeah, definitely. We love variety. The issue with something like this is that you could run into a sort of monster of the week feeling, but every monster is the same. That's a place you don't want to be as a serialized storyteller. Ooh, oh, wait. Rogue government faction run by Order that's brainwashing people with law. Yeah, we talked about actually making Order the villain, like how there could be, because we talked about how Order and Chaos are sort of diametrically opposed, but in a lot of stories, Order gets a good guy rep and Chaos gets the bad guy one. It's interesting. I think it'd be interesting to turn that on its head. But there's definitely a way to run the story either way if you wanted to go. If you wanted to go with hero Order, villain Order. We talked about possibly Order being the Nick Fury character of this world, drawing in the Devas who are willing to work alongside other Deva. But then you get to the situation where they stop all of the Deva that they're opposed by, and the crisis still hasn't ended. Or maybe you're a jerk game master and they beat all of the Deva that they wanted to, and they the balance sends twice as many of the bad ones next time. So far, I have barrier against leverage of augmentation to neutralize catastrophic event. That's a pretty good one. Um, I do think I'm going to take neutralize catastrophic event. I need a B word. I need a good B word. Oh, here we go. It's going to think of itself as a good thing. Here we go. You ready? I think I have a good one. Benevolent axiomatic learning automaton to neutralize catastrophic events. I thought about balancing was the first B word that I came up with, and I was like, but axiomatic means balance, and it sounds like sci-fi bullshit. Yeah, but we're getting off track. A certain number of Deva are necessary to hold off some event, but they're beating each other off because of tribalism. Yeah, that's a good idea too. And if we're saying that balance is an AI, which we haven't decided yet, but if we're saying that balance is an AI who's trying to stop a catastrophic event, that implies there's a catastrophic event that we need to come up with as an additional power scale. And that's why this is happening. And maybe that catastrophic event is what, like, the Deva keep failing to work together. So every time the catastrophic event comes through, the world's destroyed or the universe is destroyed. And that's why there's additional Deva needed. Like, balance is maybe one step ahead of whatever is causing this devastation. Goes to the next place, starts the Deva process up again, and doesn't learn anything because it's an AI. I was thinking that it would be interesting if all 6 of the locations were along the same meridian line, maybe. I don't, I don't know exactly what latitude or longitude. That's what it is. So, like, if we pick the line of latitude, we could follow along that, and we could either do like some of the important, like the one of the important lines of latitude, like the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, the Arctic Circle, the equator, and just pick locations along there, or we could just pick a random one and see where we're at. It keeps restarting itself into universes, but is terrible at its job. Yeah, yeah. I think we'll pick a latitude line or a longitude line. I like a latitude line. I guess it doesn't matter. They both go all over the world. Let's pick a longitude line because the longitude line should give us that should give us a wide variety of places along the Earth. But how do I figure out where the lines run? Oh, here we go. We're good. I found a globe. No, I don't want it to be flat. I need it to be round. The horse latitudes are roughly 30 degrees north and south of the equator. I don't know. What do you guys think? The G in globe is actually pronounced like J. The globe? Going back to the cycle repeats itself, maybe the cycle started with only a very few powerful people whose legends became the stories of ancient gods and mythology. Yeah, that's a good idea. Each repeat added more elements. So every time it starts again, whoever breaks up the elements is like, oh, they learned new stuff. The humans have new concepts. So these concepts need new devas. That's a fun idea. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I found a good longitude map, I hope. 90-degree longitude line. 90th meridian. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. I'm going to pick the 90th meridian. We have some places here. So, if we're looking somewhere in the United States, yeah, humans learn new stuff. These concepts need new Devas. Yep. That also implies that there is some kind of sort of intelligence way beyond us that is keeping an eye on us, and that might be balance. That might be whoever built balance. If balance is an AI, or if balance is a surviving Deva from a previous incarnation. But here are our locations for West. We have a bunch of stuff in Canada, Manitoba, Ontario, specifically, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. We have the Yucatan in Mexico. Passes through Jalapa in Guatemala. This is how we're going to find out. I don't know how to pronounce anything. And on the other side of the world, it passes through Mongolia and the eastern Siberia, or central eastern Siberia, and it passes through China. It passes through India, Bangladesh. So there's a lot of places on that 90 parallel that are interesting to engage with. Or we go even further the other way. I would like to do something in Europe because here's the issue with latitude and longitude. If we do somewhere in Europe, it's not going to hit anywhere in, it's not going to hit basically most of the Western Hemisphere. It might hit Alaska, and yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we'll come back to the drawing board on our geographic ideas, or we just you know what? Let's pick one on each continent, and it'll be random. It doesn't have to be along a certain path. Each continent except Antarctica. Map of the world. With countries. Okay. My initial thought is somewhere in the United States, because there's always something in the United States. Somewhere in Europe, Russia, because Russia is most of the landmass is the largest country in the world. Somewhere in Africa, somewhere in South America. One, two, three, four, five. And then we have one more. So I think somewhere in Asia / Oceania. It's not random. It just follows mysterious ley lines we just don't understand. Exactly. Balance knows what's up. I don't need to. I'm not an extra dimensional intelligence. I don't need to figure this out. And honestly, this is something that the players will come up with, and you'll be like, yeah, that's the answer. I was thinking that the whole time. You're a genius. Yeah, so we're looking at United States. I think it should be somewhere like in the middle of nowhere. We were talking about Nebraska, I think, for the United States location. Or Boise, Idaho. Yes, Antarctica is where balance is. That's a good idea. Uruguay for South America. I guess then do we lump Russia in with Europe, or do we like choose a random place in Europe, or do we? Yeah. That way Oceania has its own section and it doesn't have to be part of Asia. 7 continents, like the 7 letters in the word balance. Wake up, sheeple. Yeah. Claude's idea of spinning a random wheel is also a perfectly great idea, especially if you get caught on something like this, if there's a detail that you're trying to get through. Climate change is compromising balance's plans because the ice is cooling the computer. The whole campaign is a hyper intelligent gamer trying to keep their rig cool. That's a great idea. I love everything about that. Yeah, I think we go with something like that. So we go, let's find a spin the wheel. Random state spinner. All right, we're going to spin the wheel. I feel like I should probably share this with you guys. Let me present real quick. All right, we're going to spin the wheel. A shame we didn't go with 32 power sets. We could have just given them to the NFL's teams. Virginia. So we're going to go ahead and pop Virginia on there. Who's that? Monticello, and now the zombie of Thomas Jefferson has returned to instill chaos across the country. European country generator. European country spinner. Oh, this word wall's got one for everything. Virginia is basically the Uruguay of the United States. All right. Europe countries. Oh, Russia's on here. We're good. The Holy See is on here. Wow. You get a pope, and you get a pope. Norway. Well, that's fun. That is a place that you could see celestial events, so that's pretty awesome that ties in. Oceania country spinner. Not shapes. And this is just proof that world building doesn't have to be super involved. Tuvalu. Does anyone know where Tuvalu is? Where are you, Tuvalu? Tuvalu, formerly known as the Elise Islands, is an island country in the Polynesian subregion of Oceania in the Pacific Ocean, about midway between Hawaii and Australia. Tuvalu is basically the Norway of Oceania. Map. A map. Oh my god. This island is going to be chaotic. That is this big. Yeah. Okay. I'm here for it. That is 6 superpowered people stuck on a very small island. This is my greatest bit, and I'm never giving it up. I'm not gonna ask you to give it up. So we need an African country spinner. Pick an African country. Ghana. Perfect. And then one more, Asia. Asian country spinner. I think Asia is a very large landmass, y'all. Cyprus, another little island. That's interesting. Ghana is basically the Tuvalu of Africa. I don't think it is. Shit, we're Cyprus. South America. All right, so those are our 6 locations, and then balance is in Antarctica. Balance is base. It's in the permafrost of Antarctica. Well, yeah, balance. I mean, it makes sense that balance would like islands. That's islands are weird for especially for evolution and um for the development of life parallel to other places, especially islands that don't have a lot of land bridge connections at any point in history. Um, yeah, evolution gets weird. So I think the idea of balance putting powers in sort of remote areas makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So those are our 6 locations, and I would say talk to your players about where they want to start. Uh, I'm going to be building from the idea that we're starting in Virginia somewhere, but it could be anywhere. It can be any of these locations for your players. So this is sort of the high overview of the macro world building. We know what's going on. We know where it happens. We know how it happens. Now we start coming down into the micro world building. We're going to get into the immediate area around the player characters, which is what we're going to do on the next Joy of Game Mastering. So I have another stream this evening, so I'm going to run off, but that is where we're going to, so we're going to continue going. Those of you who don't know, we do have a world building Google Doc here. Anyone with the link is allowed to comment, so I'll post the link here. Please feel free to jump in, add comments, add suggestions. Anything like that is available for you. If you are watching this after the fact, you should be able to get access to chat history on YouTube, at least. If you look up in the top right corner, there should say chat. You can find the link there, or you can send me a message at my Green Running email. I'm easy to get a hold of over there. As far as news, we do have the new Valiant Adventures role-playing game. The Kickstarter for that goes live next Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be huge. It is an adaptation of the Mutants and Masterminds system to fit a deconstruction era sort of superhero setting like Valiant. It is there's a lot of fun stuff. Steve and I have been working around the clock trying to get it all finished up for you all, and it's a ton of fun. Next Thursday, not 2 days from now, but a week from Thursday, I will be over at the Penny Arcade stream, running a Valiant Adventures adventure for those folks. In about an hour, I'll be live over at twitch.tv/Untold Stories Project, where I'll be playing in our weekly arcade dark superhero game. I'm playing my character Anson Walker from my novels, and I'm having a ton of fun, even though he is a man out of time and a man out of space. It's been great. Yeah. So again, next week, 2 weeks from today, because I think next week we're having a special Mutants Masterminds Tuesday to coincide with the Kickstarter, but I'll double check. But 2 Tuesdays from now, we'll get into some of the micro world building. So we'll nail down where exactly in Virginia we want to place the story. I'm thinking somewhere we make up, so we don't have to worry about doing the. We don't have to worry about being totally accurate with city streets and people who live there and all that fun stuff. But we'll get into the town that they live in, and we'll get into some of the conflicts that they'll be able to get up to during their first story arc. So it'll be a ton of fun. Again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to send them my way. I am here to help you as a game master learn and grow and develop whatever you need. It should be in Pinewood. That would be fun. But yeah, I will see you all next time. And until then, be good people.